All right, a couple of quick announcements before we get into the podcast and back to the intro song you guys love so much. I did a podcast / video series with deer hunting legend Lanny Benoit recently, and it's something I'm extremely proud of, extremely lucky to have been able to get that opportunity. For those who don't know, Lanny Benoit is a tracking legend, has killed some of the biggest bucks the Northeast has ever seen. 272-pound bucks. I mean, his average for a couple of years there was 242 pounds. That's just for an average buck is insane. He is a really gracious guy, super fun to talk to, and he hasn't done a podcast ever. So the deer hunting world is going to be looking out for this, and I can't wait to release it. I'm just learning some video editing and stuff. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a 3-part series called the Living Legend series. And again, it's with Lanny Benoit. We will release it on YouTube, as well as the audio version on podcast. So if you're just listening with audio, you can. But make sure you get onto our YouTube and subscribe there so that when they drop, you will be notified about it. We also will have some podcasts this fall with some female hunters, so I know that's been a thing people have requested, so we're going to line up some female hunters. If you have somebody in mind that you think would be a great interview, let me know about it, but I'm hoping to do 3 or 4 female hunters this fall. We'll also, we're in talks with some other hunting legends to continue that Living Legend series, so we'll see how that goes. I did buy a new camera, some audio equipment, and I'm hoping to do some more filming this year with some better quality, so been playing around with the camera. That Lanny Benoit interview will be the, my first kind of video production, but I'm hoping that I can bring that camera out into the woods and get some better footage this year too. And then finally, check out our new blog, whitetailwisdom.com, where we'll be putting up some articles periodically, in written form. Let me know if you want to be a contributing writer there. We could definitely use some writers who have some knowledge to share. So that's it for now, and we'll get into the podcast. You're listening to the Hunt Suburbia podcast. I'm your host, Pat Guyette. Big bucks I've been dreaming often, every night till I'm in a coffin. Vermont woods to the burbs of Boston, I'm looking for a tree to get lost in. Crisp mornings, little dust in the snow, quality time, just me and my bow. Fall evenings, I know just where to go for some quality times for me and my bow. It's just me and my bow. All right, this episode I recorded back in February with Jon Petryk, and we go over his 2020 season recap, tell some stories, and there is, as usual, tons of knowledge to gain from this one. I didn't get a chance to post this back in February or March, so we're going to put it up now. People love these podcasts with Jon. He's such a great guy, so hopefully you guys enjoy another Jon Petryk podcast. Again, we're talking 2020 season recap, so we'll get right into that one. This episode is brought to you by the Northeast Big Buck Club. All right, sitting here in Jon Petryk's trophy room / living room / dining room. There's just antlers everywhere. Yeah. Just talking deer stories, man. Nothing more fun than this, huh?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So what did you? So let's. I think for this one, let's like recap your season, because just an incredible season. I'm sure you may. I don't know. Have you had a better season than this before?
Close to it, but not. The amount of deer, was up there, and it's probably. I don't know, 500 inches of antler or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so this is your best
close,
season ever?
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah.
So the first deer you got this year was the Pennsylvania deer. We're looking at that rack, right?
Yep.
So to talk about, Pennsylvania, you grew up there, you started hunting there, so you learned to hunt. You go back there now, and your family has land there, or what?
Yeah, we have a little farm. Most of it's sold off now. and it's just small parcel left over. But I know all the landowners around us, and they remember me as a little kid. And
so it's the same place you grew up.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it hasn't really changed too much. There's some developments up the road, and but really it's pretty much the same thing. I'm still. Some of the trees that I started out in are falling over and rotten. You see the wooden stands, and in fact, one of the does I shot down there, I was sitting in the ladder stand, and I was looking in front of me in this big tree, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh yeah, my dad had taken a seatbelt out of one of the old GMs that was just in one of the fields, and he put it. For me to put an actual seatbelt on once I got in the stand.
When you were a kid?
The wooden stand that we had nailed up, the wooden stand had rotten away, but the seatbelt was still, I could still see the buckle, it was still lagged into the tree. It's pretty awesome.
That is cool.
I really enjoy going down there and bringing back, my roots and where I started hunting and, all those memories and everything. And the last 3 years I've gone down there and no, 4 years, I think. Yeah, the last 4 years I've been down there and really, enjoying it. It's an early hunt. Early September, and I just sneak down for a weekend or a 4-day event and stay down there for a while and visit.
So do you go back every year?
I probably won't go back this year because I have an elk hunt coming up.
Okay.
But I try to. Yeah, and it's good to see my family again. But with COVID, it was weird.
Yeah.
I ended up staying in my sister's trailer in her backyard in her driveway pretty much, and waving through the window and But it was kind of it was fun. It was an adventure.
Weird is good. Like when we're older, we'll remember the weird.
Exactly.
Stuff,
Exactly. Yeah.
All those memories. So wait, how long have you been living up here? When did you move from Pennsylvania?
I moved up here probably 2000, 2001, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty much every year since then, you make it. Did you try to make it to Pennsylvania for?
No, just the last 4 or 5 years. I think we went down. I do a sailing trip with my dad's friends. They used to go every year, and they started inviting me when he passed away, and I'd go down there and set up a trail cam, and and then when I come down to visit,
check it.
Yeah, check it.
That's cool.
And do some just some nostalgic silly hunts really. It's backyard, same as here. But and there's a lot of deer down there. A lot of deer.
I've heard.
Yeah.
It's on my list to hunt at some point.
Yeah.
But I just ask because I make sure I go back to Vermont for the Vermont opener of rifle. I just something about that weekend. I gotta get back there. It's just
you get back to your roots, I guess you'd call it. But we go down there, and my mentor that got me into bow hunting, Dennis and his wife, they both hunt. They both hunt on the property still, and it's fun to go out and shoot with them, and it's just great that we can still do that after all this time.
Is it kind of like a deer camp experience?
Yeah, sort of, but minus the camp. But
yeah. But at least the camaraderie of those guys.
Exactly.
Seeing them every
yeah. Enjoying hunting with others that and he really got me into the sport. So it's great. He always says it's great to see that you do that I got you into something that you do so well at. And, But it's good. Yep.
Yeah, I would imagine for him it's like to see all these bucks that you've killed, and he was one of the big reasons. It has to, right? He was he instilled like
absolutely
passion in you for it.
I remember one time he shot he's got a record book elk. I don't know, it was at the time it was probably number 7 or something like that, and he gave me a copy of the book, and he said, "Hey, look, my elk's in here," and he gave me a copy of the book, and I think I brought down a Northeast Big Buck Club book for him one time and put all the pictures. Said, "I remember when you gave me a book." And so here's,
wow, that's really cool.
So it's
he hasn't been up here to visit.
No. He's a roofer. He's retired now. He may come up sometime. I don't know.
Maybe post COVID. That'd be cool.
Yeah, right. And hunting's a little different down there. I pretty much get yelled at every time I pass up a deer, and I'll be sitting there hunting, and I'll just take pictures of a little buck or something like that. And I said, "What are you doing? Why? How's legal? Shoot it!" Because they have a 3-point rule.
Yeah. Again, it's like Vermont with. I see a lot of similarities in hearing from the hunters, the hunters, and the mentality of a Pennsylvania hunter and a Vermont hunter.
Yeah.
Don't pass things up.
Right. If you got a legal shot, you take it.
But they have a 3-point rule on one side. That's very different.
Certain parts of Pennsylvania, it's a 3-point and a brow tine. So like it would have to be 4 on a side, or it's in my area it was at 5C. It's just has 3 points on one side. No matter what, it's 3 points, good to go.
Yep.
So yeah, but it's. I think the antler restrictions there have done good for the state. You definitely see giant bucks coming out of Pennsylvania. You always see these giants coming out, but
there's a huge one this year. Did you see that one?
Yeah,
I think the guy got it with a recurve or something.
Yes, and that was in that magazine right here, I think. I just read an article on that. But if you think about it too, with Facebook and everything, everyone's, do you see it more because of that stuff, or is it, did these bucks always get killed? You just never heard about it.
Yeah,
so it's a big state, and really, what is it? So because of the information we get now via the internet and Facebook and social networking and all that stuff, I'm like, yeah, you're going to see more because there's more opportunity to see more. There's a part of that too, but I think it's done well for the state. It's got to be 7-8 years now that they've been doing that, I think. Maybe more, but
I mean, I'm a big. Are you a big map guy? Just looking at maps. I mean, most hunters look at maps.
I am, and I'm not. If I need to be somewhere, yeah. But I don't try to pre-plan hunts due to maps, just because the ground always looks different.
Yeah.
When you get there, like, oh man. Yeah. Geez. But for elevations and stuff like that, yeah.
Not so much for like the planning part, but just like look, I zoom into Pennsylvania a couple times, and I'm just like blown away by how much forest that there is. There is so much forest in Pennsylvania. I would have just never thought about it.
Right. Yeah. It's not like
what do they call it? They got the state lands.
Yeah, state game lands. But it's not like a WMA around here. What is it like? Oh, look, 6,000 acres. They have hundreds of thousands. It's big.
And you can see it. There's just huge ridges, and then there's like a little town and a road going through, and then another huge ridge. And it's the way those mountains are formed down there. It's just mountain after mountain after mountain after mountain with the little towns in the valleys. But there's absolutely nothing in between except forest.
Right.
Looks pretty cool. Like I do want to go down and hunt it.
Yeah. There's definitely deer down there. But yeah, it was. I was able to harvest a nice 8-point. I was after, I sent a camera down versus going down in June, and my sister set it up for me, and that was interesting, trying to talk her through setting up the cell cam and all that fun stuff. Got some funny pictures of my niece. She went out and helped, and I had left a strap in a tree for it to go on and everything.
Yep.
But so I sent a camera down there. I was getting some pictures of nice bucks and everything, and I had the last 2 years, 3 years before that, I didn't shoot a buck. I passed up on a nice 9-point. But then the 2 years after that, I shot a really old 7-pointer, almost 200-pound deer, and then I shot a really nice 8-point. I never got to see that deer though. I never recovered it until the following year. Unfortunately, it went into a neighbor's piece of property. I had called a dog tracker. We just couldn't find it. It was just 8-foot briar grass and everything.
Yep.
And, we ended up going shed hunting later that year, or the next year, I should say, heading down to Illinois. And we ended up locating that buck. And we walked right by it within feet multiple times. It was just the topography, and we weren't allowed to cut anything. It wasn't our land. The guy said it was okay, but we couldn't cut anything.
Where is Antler still fine?
Right there. Is that skull right there?
Oh yeah,
right in the thing. But it's
this closest one right here.
Yeah, right here in the fireplace. Yeah, but yeah, it was pretty crazy. So we went down, we found it. Thank goodness, put me at ease. I was really a mess, 2 years ago because of it, and. But anyway, so I got 2 nice bucks there, and this year I came down. There's some nice deer on camera, and it was the second night I was hunting down there, and I had a nice young 8 come in. I thought it was way bigger than it was, and I shot it. It gave me a great opportunity. Its head went behind a tree. I was able to draw on it. It was quartering away. The second I get drawn on a deer, it's tough because as soon as I draw on it, it's over. And so I shot it. It ran off, into the neighbor's yard, and I could see a doe stomping in the yard, so I knew it probably fallen over there. Retrieved it. It was great. It was only on the second night of the hunt.
Out of what, 4-day hunt?
Yeah, about 4 days I think I was there for. So yeah, about that. And then, but it really opened up time for me to have fun then. And,
right.
And I had 2 doe tags and was able to fill them as well. But it was really great to, you know, a lot of people say, oh, geez, you know, you shot a little buck or whatever. I don't care. It's it did have some ground shrinkage, but you know what? Spending time with my family down there and my bow hunting mentors, like they were so excited I got it, and you know, it's a different world. Plus, it gave me the opportunity to not buck hunt anymore because they only have one tag down there. So now I was on doe patrol, and that's just all kinds of fun.
Yep.
You know, really, you know, put the smack down on a couple does, you know, and I got one like the morning I left. I got one there too as well, so it was good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I don't think you should ever feel shame about killing a buck, right?
Absolutely,
you get up to
never.
It, it's like
yep.
That thing's beautiful in Vermont. That would be it's like in the bigger tier of bucks at my camp right there.
Yeah.
That would be you know, one of the bigger ones, and probably the biggest one in last year or any year actually.
Yep. And actually, you know, and you know, I never saw any of those big bucks when I was down there.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
so I mean, well, I seen one. It was at noontime, of course. So I'm sitting there eating a sandwich, and you know, it walked right by us. But okay, but you know, and I never saw him again. You know, so
how many big bucks did you have on that camera? You said it was a cell cam, right? So you're like up here getting pictures.
There were probably
cool.
two that I really wanted.
Yep.
And then there were a good number like that.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of big ones. One actually I've seen for 3 years now. It's a big 6-point. It's really cool looking. So maybe you know, not this year, but maybe the year after that, maybe I can go down and maybe get him. He'll be old then. But who knows? Or maybe it's another one. You know,
those big 6-point sometimes just stay 6s, huh?
Yep.
Neil was talking about one he followed for a while that was a 6 most of its life, and then the year he got it, they had tiny little brows and a split G2, so it was actually a 9, but big main frame.
Yeah, they always try to seem to follow pattern, especially with the shedding and stuff. You know, I can
that
see
that one almost looks like a big 7, but it's got like something sticking out of it on the right there, right?
Which one's this?
This one by your TV.
Which to the right of it?
Yeah, to the right of your TV.
Yep,
well, it kind of looks like a big 7, but it's got some stuff sticking off, right?
Yeah. So the skull or the deer?
No, the deer.
The deer itself. Yeah, it's an 8-point, but it's got a little kicker on the side here.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's
that's a friggin' beautiful deer.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, with that one there, I never knew it was that big till I shot it.
Oh, like on cameras,
I always got sideways picture of it. If you look at it sideways, it's not big.
Yeah.
But you didn't realize he had, you know, I don't know, 10.5-inch, 11-inch brow tines.
Oh, those are huge. Yeah.
So I mean, I never saw, you know, from this way. It was a tight rack. I thought it was broken off really, until you know.
Where did that one score? Do you know?
He was 148.
Wow.
Yeah, and change I think. It would have been 150.
And that's with mostly 7 points. That little one that kicks off.
Yeah,
you know?
pretty much. Yeah.
That's a lot out of that.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep. The brow tines got it there. That's all it was.
Beautiful buck.
Yep. But you know, Pennsylvania was good to me. I was able to take 3 deer down there.
And then was Illinois next?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, we started hunting bass, and then I didn't get anything early season mass. Where did I shoot a doe? I might have shot a doe early. And then we went down second week of November, I believe, down to Illinois. We go down to, what is it there? Around Golconda area. It's Polk County, Illinois.
You just go down and do a DIY hunt?
So we have a guy down there, and he has a couple leases and stuff, and we buy them from him. Spend a couple $1,000, and he lets us hunt his leases and stuff. He's a property manager, so he buys and sells hunting land, and he likes to get guys to shoot big deer off of it.
Yeah.
To help sell it.
Yep.
So we come into play there.
So like in maybe a year or two, he'll have it and hope somebody gets some big bucks, and then
sometimes he sells the places, and so. But
it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we've been going down there,
and that's one of the best counties, right?
I think they're all good in Illinois. But yeah, it's almost it's way southern Illinois, almost Kentucky. In fact, when we flew in all the time, we'd fly into Kentucky and then drive up. But because of COVID, again, we drove this year. Couple trucks full of stuff, and went down there. We went down, and of course, the weather was about 80 degrees. Second week of November, what do you think? 80 degrees.
I remember that up here. It was hot.
Yep. It was so, and just like, you know, you're thinking about, this is it. You know, I go on my rut hunt, and every year you get pumped up for it, and then it's like, 80 degrees. And just coming off the PA hunt, there was incredibly low temperatures for that one. It was early in the season, and it was 30s at night.
Yep.
And that's what really, and there were deer just everywhere. It was just, they were out feeding, and just, because it was so cold. Normally I'm sitting there sweating, and this time it was switched around. Like November, I'm sitting there. Thank goodness I bought some lightweight camo, because we had applied for a Texas hunt and didn't draw, but, thank God I had this light stuff, because I was just sitting there sweating. And, oh, man. One of the guys that we went with sat in a box blind. He ended up in his underwear. And
I was going to say, yeah.
Just sweating. But, we went through the week there, and, we're still seeing some deer, though. They were coming out, last light. It's not like you sit all day like in November normally. But, we'd go out, hunt the morning hard, hunt last light hard, and seeing quite a few deer, a couple shooter bucks,
Now, do you have like camera set up there and you knew what was around?
The landowner has pretty decent network of cameras.
So he showed you the inventory when you got there?
Yeah, he's like, this deer's been here, and a lot of it's, if people have been hunting there, we saw a big 8 or something like that. But also it's the rut down there. You never know what's going to show up.
Yeah.
A deer from who knows where shows up, or the neighbor's property, this way and that way.
Did they know about the one you ended up getting? No?
Yeah, he had pictures of him.
Yeah.
I didn't, the pictures didn't really look like the buck, and I didn't realize it was him when I shot it. But when we come up to it, we did. Fast forward through the week, we sweated for 3-4 days.
Did you pass any bucks or anything?
I really didn't. I didn't see much in the beginning. A couple of the guys we went down with, one guy saw a Big 10, and he was hung up with a doe. He had a couple 30-yard encounters, where it's just too much brush, and he couldn't get an arrow through, and this and that. And but there were bucks around.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to pass up or even shoot at really. Just trying to find one. And I realized with the temperatures there, it's not going to be, it's not a plethora of opportunity. But,
yeah, right. This episode is brought to you by the Northeast Big Buck Club. Go to www.bigbuckclub.com. Become a member, $25 annually. You get access to all of their great magazines that feature Northeastern hunters and their stories, and some of the best bucks killed in the previous season. And if you become a member, you'll get an invite to their members-only banquet, which is an additional $50. It's how they make most of their money throughout the year. They're a nonprofit organization, but this banquet keeps those guys going. And it's a really great, fun banquet. A lot of great hunters there, hundreds of mounts. You got to go. There's tickets still. Go grab your tickets. I want to give a quick shout out to Wild Edge Inc. These guys are out of Connecticut. They make a climbing system for mobile hunters. They've got a proprietary step ladder climbing system to use instead of climbing sticks, which a lot of folks carry with them. It's really slick. You got to check them out, www.wildedgeinc.com. They also have saddles and platforms and everything you need to become a more mobile hunter and add that to your repertoire. So I went to their demo a couple of weeks ago down in Connecticut. They're a bunch of great guys. They showed me how to use the saddle, and I came home with one. I'm going to be using it this summer and practicing with it, and hopefully getting up into a couple of trees this fall when the scenario calls for me being mobile, and hopefully we'll get a deer out of one. But go check them out, www.wildedgeinc.com. Great company, Northeast based, right in Connecticut. Give them a shot. Oh, it was tropical even up here, man. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear the same story from everyone that hunted that week. But then there was a front coming on that Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. I think it was the 11th. It was the 11th, in fact.
I remember the 11th was a great day.
Yep. And
Veterans Day, right?
Yep. So this front came in, and we're gonna go sit all day because the wind's changing, different direction. This should be good for hunting on that side. We switched over to another place. We've been waiting to hunt it, and I don't think anyone's killed a buck off of there for 2 or 3 years. And so now we go in at dark. I got my e-bike now. Oh man, is that thing nice?
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah. But it's probably 3 miles back through fields and ditches, and
if you don't grow a pumpkin this year, you might be able to get another e-bike.
Yeah, right. Yeah, how about it? But so it was really helpful getting back to where I had to be, and then I hunted a stand early in the morning, and then got down and got in at gray light, and sat there the whole day. As soon as the sun came up, I heard chasing and grunting, and there were bucks on does, and it just something about that day. The temperature
front.
changed,
Yeah.
and it just lit up like someone flipped a switch, lit the fuse, whatever. But it was just stuff running around, and there's a bunch of there's a levee, and there's drainage ditches and stuff. I mean, deer jumping through water, and I mean it's just crazy, right? Midday got slow. Okay, whatever, this and that. Sitting there, I'm like, okay, I'll go hang a trail cam. Something to do. And climb down and hung a trail cam and climb back up, clip back in. Thank goodness I did. I had a stand brake on me.
Really?
Yep. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I can hear it. And it was dry as all could be, and the leaves are like light bulbs, and I can hear stepping. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So I get up, and I'm looking, I'm watching. I got a big tree in front of me, so I can't see what's coming, but I can hear. I'm like, oh geez, I'm like, that sounds like the biggest buck I've ever seen in my life. Like, it just making a racket. I'm like, wow. I leaned forward so I could kind of look around the tree, and bang, one of the cables on the stand broke.
No way.
Oh yeah, I don't know how I did it. I didn't drop my bow. I didn't, I hadn't bow in my hand. I just kind of laid back on the tree. I didn't, my harness never caught me or anything, or both sides would have, but somehow I stayed up. I have no idea. So now I'm like kind of freaked out, but now I'm like, oh geez, a deer's coming. What's going on?
Yeah.
Like,
did the deer hear that?
Yeah. I mean, it was loud. It was like a gunshot went off, man. And so I'm like trying to like put my knee on the seat and like stand on the backside of the stand, because I don't know, like, is this other one gonna go now? I'm like freaking out about, like, there's a deer here, so I'm waiting. Man, you should have seen the size of the possum that walked up. I'm like, come on, really? So I'm like, whatever. The thing's just walking away. I'm there. Now I'm like trying to. So I got the rope that I pull my bow up with. I take that and I try to tie the stand up. I'm trying to make this work, because if there's deer around, I can hear him grunting and chasing, and this morning. And okay, so here comes this opossum. It's walking, it's chewing on some stuff, and I'm sitting there. I fixed the stand. Now I'm like, oh, geez, almost died. And then that big noise, and I'm like, oh, your hopes and dreams, and now you're like, geez, come on. So I sit there. I get back in swing of things, and now I can see a deer move. There's some does moving in front of me, and I'm in this big river bottom, so it's like I can see deer filtering through, and now they're making noise, and they're kind of hanging up because you can hear this possum in front of me walking around, and they're looking. I'm like, oh, I'm going to use this. So grab my grunt tube, and I'm grunting away, and I rattle a little bit, and well, hey,
Your possum was a live decoy.
Absolutely, right? They hear something walking, they just can't see it. They're looking, and I had another buck coming in, and he's a little, I don't know, 5 or 6 point. It wasn't a very big deer, but he's looking, and I'm like, give him some grunts, and he must have had enough of it. He just started chasing those does around over there. I mean, I can see him, in the background there. I'm like, well, what the heck? And I start grabbing my horns and smashing them together and grunting and making a racket, and they're making a racket.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden from behind me I hear just coming, and I'm like, there comes one. All right. So I turn around, and now of course all the action in front of me. I turn around behind me. Of course it's downwind. So and now I'm also worried about my stand still breaking. So I'm like standing, like leaning against the seat, and not. It's crazy, but I can see a good sized rack coming in behind me, and he freezes, and I'm like, oh no, because he walked right into my wind. He just locked up, but he can hear all these deer crashing around, and he's like looking at them. He's looking my way. He's sniffing. He's looking that way, and he's sniffing, and he just kind of slowly starts walking in. Now I can see the rack. It's a nice 8-point frame, and I can see like a kicker out the one side, and I'm like, you know what? I almost died. I'm shooting this buck. Yeah. I don't care. Okay, we're almost done here. I got 2 days left. I'm like, if he gives me a shot, I'm gonna kill him. So I'm sitting there, and I'm turned around somehow, and he keeps looking, and all of a sudden he just starts, nose in the air, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like, he's gonna turn around and run. It's gonna happen. Just the worst. Oh, don't do it. The second he starts turning around to go, I draw. He looks back, he sees me, and just kind of like starts to trot off. I picked there was like a window, I don't know the size of that, tiny little window in the branches and stuff, and he walked right through it, and I shot. it sounded like I hit a freaking log, and I'm like, oh no. Like, did I hit a tree? I don't know. He ran off. He didn't seem hurt or anything. He just kind of just ran off. Okay. So now I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I don't know.
Sitting in a broken tree stand.
Broken tree stand. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know, whatever. I don't know how to get my boat out because I used the rope to tie up the tree stand. So many things just happened in the last 15 minutes that, whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, and the sun started going down. I'm like, and I hate getting down and following deer. If I don't see them drop, I try to give them 2 hours at least. There's no reason to push a deer unless you got snow or something, or you can, it's going to be easy to follow them.
Yeah.
I'm using my binoculars. I can't find my arrow. I can't really, I can see a little bit of blood, a little bit of hair. I'm like, okay, well, I hit it. Good. Because it sounded like I hit a tree.
Yeah.
So I get down and I texted my buddy. He was hunting.
How'd you get the bow down and stuff?
I don't even remember. I don't know. I think I left it in the tree, I think.
Oh, you did?
Excuse me. Yeah. So I left it in the tree. I think I climbed down just because I want to see, do I keep hunting? Did I miss? Did I, is it I got to see what's happening because I still got a little bit of light. I want to know. So get down. I kind of just poke over to where I shot. There's my arrow laying right there, covered in blood. And I'm like, oh, hit it. Good. Great. It wasn't a tree.
And then hit a log.
Yeah. How about it? Well, it wasn't. I didn't hit a branch. I don't know what it was. It must have been. I hit it hard quarter away, and it came out the front. It must have been the sternum that broke when it came out.
Yeah.
I went maybe 10 yards on the blood trail. It started just pouring out, and I said, "Good, it's dead." Climb back up the tree, and texted everybody else. I hit one, and I don't know what it was. It looks like an 8-point with a kicker. I don't know. Sure. All right. So and I don't want to go because it ran towards where my buddy was, and I didn't want to walk past him on his hunt too. I mean, I don't want to. I just stay in my stand till dark and figure it out then. I got a good blood trail, I think, and no problem. So gets dark. He comes down. I meet him at my bike because I just stashed it in the woods and we just cover it with a camo net.
But you're not hunting public there, are you?
No.
You still wanted to cover your bike?
Well, so the deer don't see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
was just bike laying there. I don't know. I just covered up and
Gotcha.
And it was actually the bike was closer to him, and he's like, "Yeah, the deer walked right past it. I didn't see it." So.
So you probably camouflage your stands and stuff too.
Oh yeah, all that fun stuff. Yeah, paint them up, and I got bushes I drag in the trees and all that. Oh yes.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, then he comes out and helps me track, and another guy helped me track, and 3 of us go. We start following the trail. I mean, it's just pouring out. It's good. This deer's dead. It's pouring. It keeps going. Oh man, it's like 60, 70 yards now. I'm like, oh Jesus, deer should be here by now. I don't know. We're right next to a big drainage ditch. I mean, it's
I saw that picture. That
50. Oh, I sent you. Yeah. So finally, he turned around, swam through this thing. It's got to be, I don't know, 20, 15 feet wide, maybe. I don't know, 15 yards wide. I mean, it's a decent.
Yeah.
And right on the other side of the bank, there he is, laid over dead in the mud. I'm like, oh, if he would have died, he must have stood up and just, fell over from the swim.
Yeah.
But oh, thank God, right? But now we gotta get this deer out. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, we can see it's a big deer, but we can't really see because it's in the mud. It must have, there's mud all over the antlers. And
he had pretty dark antlers too, didn't he?
Yeah, chocolate rack, yeah. And so we call the guy and say, hey, we got one. Which one? I don't know. It's a 8-point with kickers. Oh, that's probably that one. I don't know. So he's like, well, someone shot one like that before over there. We'll bring the boat. So he got 2 kids. I paid him to bring the little boat through the woods.
Like a motorboat?
No, like a little tin boat.
Yeah.
Like a
all right, yeah.
little flat boat. And the one, I'll show you the video. I got a video of it. And the one kid just kind of scooted over with the boat and threw the deer in it. And, as soon as he pulled it out of the mud, I could see all the stuff. And, oh, man, it was crazy.
That's just an awesome deer.
Yeah, it's really insane. It's got, if you count ring points, it's got 20 points. 17 of them are scoreable. It wasn't even that old of a deer, to tell you the truth. I haven't got the teeth back on it yet, but the teeth that were in the jaw and stuff were pointy yet, and we're thinking it's a 3-year-old.
Wow.
Yep.
So holy crap, he could have been 5.5.
Right.
You. Mm-hmm. And what do you think he's going to score?
I green scored him at 162.
Yeah, incredible.
Yep.
What a deer.
Just a regular 8-point frame with a bunch of kickers and junk and crazy stuff.
Oh man, and he's gonna end up being your number two scoring deer, right?
Yep. So
and number 1 is Massachusetts, by the way, for those keeping score.
Yep.
You don't have to go to Pope County, Illinois.
That's right.
It's fun.
That's right. But the quality of bucks out there are definitely.
It's just like the number of big ones, right? It's like
correct. Yeah, they're there.
You got to look a lot harder for them here.
Yep, absolutely. One in 1,000 versus one in 5.
Now, do you weigh the deer out there?
Yeah, he wasn't very heavy. He was probably only 153 or 6 pounds.
Yeah, so he probably
that.
was a 3.
Yeah, he wasn't very heavy. They do have 200-pounders out there, but it's not the same. The deer down there are a little smaller.
Yeah.
Also helps the racks look bigger, But really, it's not uncommon to find 200-pound deer down there, but it's more common to have a heavier buck up here just because of the winters and everything like that.
Yeah. They need it.
Exactly. Yeah. Survival of the fittest.
So, anybody else get deer on that trip down there?
Nope. There was some seen, but no other deer got taken. But they definitely saw a few other shooters and stuff, but just no opportunity.
What did the landowner think when he walked up on it?
He was psyched because he likes seeing the ones that get the ones that he has on camera that get shot. And he gets excited too.
And that was the one that he thought it was going to be, right?
Yep. He's like, oh, that's the one, and like, okay, cool,
Well, that's awesome.
But yeah, it's pretty fun. We go down there, made some good relationships down there and everything too, and it was fun. We went down there and shed hunted. A couple years back, and but
you said you put in for Texas. Why are you looking at Texas? And so I take it it's a lottery only state for out of staters.
Yeah, I didn't even do the put in. One of my friends said, "Oh, we should go hunt Texas down there. You can shoot bucks, and there's a I got to think of the name now. It's a big ugly antelope you can shoot down there or something."
Oh yeah. I think I saw it on Meat Eater on Renella's show.
Yeah, that's the ones. Yep.
It looks like it's an African.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so and we didn't draw for that, but maybe next year. Or, I don't know. But that's like a January hunt.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like an off-season thing, but even with COVID too, I'm glad it didn't.
Is that their rut down there?
I don't even know.
No, I think ruts are earlier in the South generally, usually, right?
So I think Alabama has a January rut or something like that. I don't know. But it may be. I don't know. I didn't really research it that much. I just said, I'll be into that,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of
there's some big bucks down, like antlers, tiny.
Yeah.
They're small body,
small deer, But they're all traditional guys, and they're like, we get 60 yards from them all the time, and you could just no problem,
Yeah.
Just being a compound guy. But yeah, that was Illinois, and that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, man, that's great. And how many years have you been going to Illinois?
Geez. I want to say probably 8 years, something like that.
But that's your best Illinois, of course, buck, and then there's a couple on the wall from
I got
Illinois, right?
that kicker 8 there.
Yep.
He was 156, I think.
Yep.
And then I have a couple. I got my first 10-pointer down there. That's him up there, and then I have an 8-pointer that I shot down there. Oh, and there's another one there too. Yeah, that one with all the little crab claws and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. But we've done well down there. Probably 8 years I think we've gone down there.
That's awesome.
Something like that. But
so Pennsylvania, Illinois, Massachusetts, those are the only 3 you're really hunting right now, or
pretty much.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
I think we're gonna try Ohio this coming year.
Yeah, that'd be fun too.
Yep. So we're gonna switch it up. I don't think we're gonna do Illinois this year. We're gonna do Ohio. It's a little less of a drive. I think it's 10 hours versus 18. So that's good. And the licenses are a little cheaper. The Illinois license is like $475, I think, something like that for archery and stuff. Yeah, all together. But
and then we get into your Massachusetts, 2 great Massachusetts bucks.
Yeah. So I've been hunting them all year, and we had talked about food plots. Earlier.
Yep.
And I took both these bucks on food plots, and all year I've seen history of one back really far, I think it's him anyway. Could have been all the way back to like 2015. But
which one, on the left or right?
On the right.
Yep.
So and I don't know, because I got some sheds from like 4 or 5 years ago that could be his. They looked similar, but I can't tell.
Yep.
And it's really nice to be able to do something and put work into land and then have it, come back to you twofold. And, it's just, it's nice, for all that hard work to pay off.
Absolutely.
The first one, we had a good snow and, actually I had
yeah, take a quick break. This episode is brought to you by Heron Hill Winery, the official winery of the Hunt Suburbia podcast. Go to www.heronhill.com and use code HS5 for an additional 5% off at checkout. Now, they already have some great volume discounts on there. If you buy 3 bottles, you're going to get 5% off. If you buy 6 bottles, you get 10% off. If you buy 12, you're going to get 15% off. So if you add the 5% extra you get from using code HS5, you get 20% off plus free shipping for a case. HS5 is for first-time buyers. If you're a repeat buyer, you've supported in the past, just get on there and use those volume discounts. Get the wine delivered right to your door. Enjoy a nice glass of wine while you listen to this podcast. There's a lot of great information. And support us. Support the sponsors. We really appreciate it. HeronHill.com. Use code HS5 for an additional 5% or just enjoy their volume discounts. I talk about it all the time. One thing that is awesome about hunting is that there's so many different ways that you can hunt. You can always keep your hunt fresh by using different weapons or hunting in different seasons. Some state has an early season, some have a late season. You can hunt a buck here and a doe there and a Saturday here and a Sunday there. Well, one of the easiest ways to change up your hunt, if you haven't got into muzzleloader hunting yet, muzzleloader is a great way to extend your season. In New Hampshire, it's early, before the rifle season, before the bow season. In Vermont, it's late, it's at the end. But muzzleloader hunting is awesome. And so I'm super excited to announce a partnership with Woodman Arms muzzleloader. This muzzleloader actually shoots like a rifle too. And the coolest part about Woodman Arms is they recommend that you not clean your gun. You don't need to clean this thing. If you're using Blackhorn 209 powder, you don't need to clean it. Yeah. Now muzzleloaders are the messiest guns out there. You're shooting powder that's either loosely packed or in a pellet, and just imagine lighting that thing on fire in there. It's an extremely messy thing, but with the Woodman Arms, the way they build it, you don't need to clean that muzzleloader. That's number one selling point in the world. But once you hold this thing, it feels like a rifle. It just feels right in your hands. It's got a hammerless action, so there's absolutely no hammer on the gun. It's got a crossbolt safety. It feels like you're carrying your 7600 through the woods. I'm extremely excited about this partnership. They're making me a gun right now. Throughout the summer as I'm shooting it and into the fall and getting ready, I'll report back on how it shoots, but you don't have to look any further than all the reviews and all the really great hunters in the Northeast and across the country. Really, they're selling all over the country because they're the best muzzleloader in the country. Look at what everybody else is saying about this gun. That's enough for me to endorse it without ever shooting one, but I can't wait to shoot one and follow up with you guys and tell you how it is this summer, this fall. For now, go to woodmanarms.com. Check them out. You can build your own custom gun right there. Call Timmy Bolduc, who was on this podcast and is a good friend of mine, and he'll tell you anything that you need to know about the gun. Woodman Arms, America's most accurate and dependable muzzleloader on the market, handcrafted in New Hampshire. Go to woodmanarms.com and start building your gun today. All right, back after the break. I gotta tell you, I just use John's bathroom. There's antlers even in there. He's got a couple of heads in the back room. What do you got? What are these deer heads doing here? Oh, he's just storing them for people. Yeah, all over John's house, you got remnants of deer somewhere.
Deer everywhere.
You just love deer, man.
Love deer.
You love them.
Yep.
There's in the bathroom too. There was a well, actually, what do you call it? The toilet paper rolls on Antler, and then
spike. Yep. You just gotta be careful when you sit down. It'll get you. But
yeah.
You're
not hard to buy Christmas presents for, I would imagine.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Trail cameras, that's all I ask for.
Trail cameras, paintings of bucks, whatever. Anything to do with a deer.
Deer. And I'm happy. Yep. Easy.
Yeah.
But so we're talking about Massachusetts bucks.
Yeah, your 2 Massachusetts bucks that tied up the year.
Yep. So both on food plots, and it was a weather thing. We had snow come. And they really started hitting the food plots hard, digging in for a turnip and whatnot. And, I had that one come in with maybe 4 or 5 does, and pretty much, and we had talked about this in the other podcast where the neighbor started flying his drone around and ended up scaring it, chasing it in toward me.
That wasn't planned.
It wasn't planned. Yeah, I was freaking out actually because he was out at about maybe 60 yards and facing to me the whole time, and I just can't, pull myself to do that, and it actually just ended up running towards me, and then circled around a scrape tree to leave, giving me a nice quarter-way shot. I shot him maybe 27 yards, something like that. I hit him good. He kind of ran off without the use of his offside shoulders. Usually I like that quarter-away shot, smashed the offside shoulder.
Yep.
And I figured, I got snow. I'd never seen him go down. But I thought I saw a brown spot. I couldn't tell with binoculars. I could see blood in the snow, though. I know I hit him. And I actually thought I hit him a little bit farther back, but he was quartering away, so it was good. I called my buddy Ryan, who was hunting next town over, and he came. He's like, all right, well, I'll come there, and I'll just sit there for an hour and wait, because if I don't see him go down, I wait.
Yep.
There's no sense chasing him. I said, well, when you get here, came up, we got snow. If we do bump him, we'll just leave him overnight. We can follow him easy enough.
Yep.
We had a great blood trail right to him. I think he went 60-something yards, piled up in the snow. So that was
awesome.
Good.
Is this a buck that you were aware of, I'm sure?
Yep. I got piles of trail cam pictures of him.
What number was he on your hit list?
And I didn't realize this one was as big as it was. I actually thought it was the other deer, another deer, but it wasn't him. It was different. And that other deer actually showed up.
Yeah.
Later that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was waiting for that one. Another deer shot. I'm like, wait, didn't I just shoot that?
Yeah.
Wait,
who's this?
Wait,
yeah.
who?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that must have been, because then I have a trail cam picture of it leaving, and I can see that too. It has 2 nice, brow points coming off of its base, and so was that deer? Okay, so but even still, great. But I didn't even know he's got to score over 140.
Yep.
So I mean, it's I couldn't be happier, to tell you the truth. I thought he was younger, and he's not. He's very old. So.
We were just looking at his teeth and.
Yep. Ground down flat. He's got extra, skull features.
Real gnarly bases there.
Yeah.
The bases probably is what helped add to that score, right? Because it's pretty.
Yeah, good sized bases, and he has long main beams.
Yep.
The tines aren't crazy long, but the mass on the way out really helps it score good.
Yep.
But and then and then I was contemplating what to do next. I had 1 buck tag left. I had that really big buck that I was after, that I had the encounter with. I had him at 32 yards, and he ended up winning me and running off. But we had another snowstorm, like we were talked before about how deer show up after snowstorms and just certain things. And so I was like, well, do I go after him, or do I go after this other buck that started showing up? And that's the other buck on the left there.
Yep.
I actually thought he was bigger than he was, but just giant body. I seen him for a couple years, and the last time I seen him in daylight was in the early summer. He was coming out on this field edge, and the property owner's like, oh, hey, I was driving by with my tractor, and I chased off this big buck, and I'm like, I have the trail cam picture of him like screaming, and I haven't seen him in daylight since,
Yeah.
but the second set of snowstorms really brought them out, and so what happened there with him? He came out, and this place is pretty urban. It's a set of fields amidst a bunch of houses, and I always had problems with kids, dogs. In fact, I just got a trail cam picture of a dog going through that place.
Yeah. I get that sometimes, and
Yeah.
a couple of mine.
And the deer are always walking in and then like immediately running away because somebody drove by with a car or this or that or whatever it was. And so he comes out, he's facing me, and he's about 50 yards, and he starts feeding, and I just fixed that stand because we had talked about putting stuff in the stand to hide you, and the sun was always in my face there, and I didn't realize it until I looked at some of my other trail cam. I put a trail camera on the back side of that field, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. Like it's just glowing.
Yeah.
Glowing John,
Yeah.
So I ended up nailing up a board and putting a bunch of branches and stuff like that up above, and then now that's giving me shade.
So you nail a board to the backside of the tree, or
it's like a clump of trees, like 5 or 6 trees around, because I don't have a big tree there.
Yeah.
So I took a bunch of trees and I kind of tied them together and made a kind of like a nest almost,
Yeah.
And then I put, I had a sucker growth oak that still had its leaves, and I put a bunch of branches up there. That way it's blocking the sun. Now I'm in a shade. I only have a few little windows here to shoot at, but it's still, I know where they're going. So he had come in walking straight in, and then this deer had seen me a couple times before in the season and then turned around and left, because I think he saw me move or whatever. I don't know. But this time he came in, he's looking, and he started feeding, but he's feeding away from me. And I don't have a good shot, and I'm just waiting. He's at 50 yards, and I had been practicing too of like, if that deer comes out and does that, I'm going to be ready for it. So I'm practicing, and I have to shoot sitting down. I can't stand up because I put these leaves here.
Yeah.
So I was out in my driveway at 50 yards practicing, sitting in the chair, shooting and everything, making sure I'm still good. And especially with the cold weather clothing on, because you're so bulked up, and shooting your bow is a different story with big hat and trying to get your anchor point right. And,
the puff on the arm is like
well, I end up just freezing. I just I let it get cold. I put those body warmers on my sleeves.
Yep.
Gotta be careful though. Don't use toe warmers because.
Oh, you burned yourself?
Yeah, right there.
Wow.
Yeah, I had two giant spots where I'd switched brands. I used to use the what I can't remember which ones they were, Yak Track, something like that. And I put
hot hands.
Hot hands. Don't put those anywhere but your feet. Oh my gosh, I was burning. But I had deer in front of me. I couldn't move. I'm like, oh my god. But that was 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, I like the body warmers on my arms.
2 or 3 years ago, you still got that mark on your arm.
It's burned in good.
Wow.
Oh well.
Yep. Hey, live and learn.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Read the package. Don't put on. So anyway,
directly on skin.
So that deer, he's feeding along the outside, and I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like, come on, just turn in. I have got 3 does in front of me. I mean, I've got a 7-point buck in there as well. He came out, 20 yards. Couldn't he do that? But he's standing there 50 and waiting. And all of a sudden, because I can see the road where I'm at, and the owner shows up. I can see their car turn in the driveway. He's got probably a half-mile driveway.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is not good, because every time a car drives by, they all look up and they run. I was like, well, it's now or never. And he's still quartering to me, facing to my right, and I'm watching him. And as soon as that car came down the road, here it comes. I can see the does popped up first, and they ran. As soon as they ran, I drew, because I couldn't draw or anything because his does are around me.
Yep.
I drew. And as soon as he turned around to leave, I shot. I heard a hit. It sounded like an empty 5-gallon bucket. I'm like, oh no. I know. I was like, I gut shot him. Oh no. Right? It happened so quick. I mean, I couldn't see the arrow go in. I didn't know what happened. I'm like, okay. And he ran off. His tail was down. He didn't look hurt like the other one. And I didn't know what happened. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, the only good thing I got is snow, right? Even if I gut shot him, I can follow up the next day or whatever. It's okay. It's gonna be cold for a while. I'm not worried about it. So I'm like, okay. So I sit there for an hour again, waiting. Now it's dark. Now all the deer come out. And I got deer all over the place.
You shot that deer while they were going in the driveway, huh?
Oh yeah.
Did they see it?
No.
It's like a live audience.
No. Yeah. They can see out and they can hear he's got a. Yeah, he's got some rocks on the one part.
Yeah.
So it's like as soon as they hit that, then they they all run.
Yep.
But I also planted a screening barrier. We talked about that in the other one. Just so it wouldn't see through it. But then when it freezes,
what is the screening barrier?
So the screening barrier is a mix of sorghum, weeds.
Okay. Yeah.
But I had a hard time getting it to grow because I had no water until the last part of the season, because I got to plant that in the spring.
Yeah.
And I only got it to be about 8 foot, 9 foot. But it worked good until it freezes. Then it freezes and falls over. So 8 foot turns into 3 foot.
Yeah.
Versus this year, hopefully I'll have it 12 foot and it turned to 6 foot.
Yeah.
But they can still kind of see through it, and they don't. They get that dog keeps chasing them. So it's like. But anyway, so So I'm sitting there waiting. There are all these deer in here. It was great because it'd be entertainment that I won't climb down.
Yeah.
While they're feeding away. And so I wait. They finally leave. I think I sat in the stand for an hour and a half. Got down, walked over to where I shot, and I could just see dark blood just splattered. And I could see over there. I'm like, okay, I got
liver.
So I ended up hitting it liver or kidney. I hit it far back, but I was able to either nick that or whatever it was. But so I found the arrow. Okay, no problem. I go back to my truck, get a flashlight. I said, well, same thing as the other one. I'll track it until either I jump it or, if I don't think I have a good blood trail. So I got back, I clicked the flashlight on, and I just kind of like look up to see where it is. He's laying 30 yards away.
Nice.
Just piled up dead. So, I mean, he really it looked like he kind of fell over there. It didn't look like he laid down, but I mean, he just bled out, so it wasn't
Great
the
shot.
best. Well, it wasn't the best shot, but it did it, and that's why I like a,
What do you use for broadheads?
Spitfire Max. It's a 1 3/4 cut, but word to the wise, don't buy them anymore because they make them in China now.
Really?
Yep. They changed.
So you're looking for a new broadhead this spring.
I'm on the hunt. Well, I've stockpiled the USA made ones, so I have I don't know. I got a bunch left.
Yeah.
But when they run, I am on the hunt for a new broadhead. So yeah, that's going to be a tough thing because I've shot most of these bucks with those Spitfire Max.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just happens that they changed their manufacturing to China and the quality isn't there anymore.
Have you tried one of their Chinese ones?
Absolutely, yeah. Even in my targets, and they break in half. Blades are breaking, the tips break off.
Yep.
I mean, I've had a few break on me in the USA ones, but not 2 shots into a foam target, this broadhead's snapped in half.
Now, I forget which one Neil Pendrick was telling me. I never heard of this broadhead. I think it's a
Autolock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are they New Hampshire made?
Yeah, they're a local company, and it's I've never shot them. I've seen them break too, but it's I'm not a fan of a two blade, tell you the truth. And I haven't looked at their latest version, but they seem to rattle for me. But that's a lot of guys like them. It's and again, it's a personal thing. You know what I mean? But I just had great success with the other ones, and it's going to be tough to find another one that does the devastation that 3-blade 1 3/4 cut makes. That being said,
somebody will do it. Somebody
That's
will
right.
make it, and you'll
That's
find
right.
one. I think there's.
I am looking at Severs. They're a great company as far as I know to deal with. I did shoot a doe with one of those this year. My last doe I shot, and it put her down pretty quick. Within I don't know, maybe 30 yards. It was a quick short shot, and she didn't go far. But
hearing good things about them.
Yep, they pivot out of the way of obstruction, to avoid deflection. I just hate that I got to get rid of my 3-blade.
Yeah.
Cut that hole, that multiple axis.
You're gonna miss that hole.
Yeah, slice.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what to do.
Well, you got a few more.
That's right.
You got a few more left.
That's right. But
plenty of time to find one.
But I've been going through them though. I mean, geez, how many deer did I shoot this year? And
I know.
It's.
Do you put a brand new one after every deer?
Yeah, I won't reuse a broadhead. I don't feel it's even if it spins right or if it's whatever. But I know the Severs have a titanium body and but with aluminum bodies and stuff like that, I really don't think you can say you don't put it through. I mean that's a lot of impact going through a deer. I can't stress test it, crack test it. What if that it's not? I put too much time into it to think that. I can spend the money and get another broadhead.
How many more do you got of your old one?
I got 8 packs of 125s and maybe 4 packs of 100s left. That's about it.
Couple more years of
but still, it's
deer killing.
I don't want to run out and then be like,
no. Yeah.
Go for a
rush. You got some time to explore.
And then for elk I'm gonna change to a fix probably. I bought some Valkyrie short bees. They're a solid 3-blade, almost look like a VPA.
Is it Colorado you're gonna go?
Yep. And then so I'm gonna try those, but I gotta work my arrow a little different. I gotta because it's a 175 grain broadhead or something like that. So I gotta put a lighter insert in and change the collar size so it's a lighter collar. So it makes because I found the right arrow for the bow. and it likes a 200 grain up front, you know, and with that arrow it just flies right there. And so I'm trying to match up the same thing I have with my 100 grains and my 75 grain insert versus the heavier stuff, you know. But that's a whole nother podcast.
Oh man,
in itself, you know.
You know, I heard there's elk in Pennsylvania.
Absolutely, yeah, big elk.
What the heck?
Big elk,
and even in West Virginia.
Yep. I
started applying 75 or something.
Last year I started applying for Pennsylvania.
Oh, you can hunt elk there too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Resident is a pretty good chance, but non-resident they only do a few tags.
Why are there elk there and not in?
They reintroduced them.
Oh, did they?
Yep. They used to. I don't know how long ago, but now they reintroduced them. They're flourishing, so they have a hunting season on them.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because then you got all the states in between that don't have them.
Right. Yeah. Pennsylvania has a great elk herd, I guess.
Yeah.
I've never seen them personally, but
I'm sure they used to be. Probably were up here too, Massachusetts. I know caribou were in Maine and you know, New Hampshire.
Right.
So
caribou. I don't even know if you can hunt caribou anymore. Well, they shut that down, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's cool, but yeah, cool, man. We'll wrap this one up too. I really appreciate your time, man.
Anytime. Hope to do some more.
That was great, and we'll maybe some sponsors will send you some broadheads to test out.
There you go. Hey, listen, we did some tests not too many years ago, but you know we got some road kills and we were shooting them with broadheads and trying them out that way. And nothing like the hell with a 55-gallon drum test. Let's shoot a deer.
Yeah.
You know, I got a coat rack down there and we strung them up and
wow.
You know, we took some shoulder shots and you know, stuff like that to test them out. So, hey, yeah.
Hey, if there's a broadhead company listening, you know, get in touch with John.
That's right.
Big bucks.
We'll test them out, but be careful. I'm a pessimist.
Yeah, you heard him. He's gonna be honest about it.
That's right.
You know, don't send it if you don't believe in your product.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, John.
No problem.
Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Hunt Suburbia, as we'll be releasing a lot more video content this year. And again, that Lanny Benoit Living Legend series is coming out that you will not want to miss. Really looking forward to that. So get on and subscribe. www.youtube.com/Hunt Suburbia. Big bucks I've been dreaming often, every night till I'm in a coffin. Vermont woods to the burbs of Boston, I'm looking for a tree to get lost in. Crisp mornings, little dust in the snow. Quality time, just me and my bow. Fall evenings, I know just where to go for some quality times for me and my bow. It's just me and my bow.